Joining me now, someone what he just mentioned, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, distinguished fellow at the Hudson Institute, also a Fox News contributor. Mr. Secretary, we're obviously seeing a shift in governance in the UK with the new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, only 2 days into the office now with King Charles. How monumental a week is this, not just for the UK, but for the entire, Western order, given the passing of the Queen?
Laura, I had a chance to get to know the Queen just a little bit. I just had that chance to meet her one time. She was a remarkable woman who had given so much of her life to true service, Laura. A great commitment to others, commitment to country before self. She sacrificed so much in her own personal life. I pray that the United Kingdom will have in King Charles the same thing, and that new Prime Minister Truss will have the opportunity. She won't have the benefit of 70 years of experience through thick and thin, good times and bad, prime ministers from the left and the right. But this will change leaders all around the world. It was just not inside the United Kingdom that the Queen was important. She was important to lots of different people, lots of countries around the world. She understood dedication and service in a way that I think, and I pray, our nation will get back. People who care deeply about our country and who are willing to fight for it the same way that the Queen fought for her country and for her leaders. She will be missed.
And I was just speaking earlier about this idea of the changing definitions of courage and bravery, valor, gutsiness. And she really embodied the true definition of those things, where today, you're gutsy for just, saying you want more me time or saying you want to have more self-care. Like, that's a gutsy thing to say in the workplace. But to me, there's a nostalgia here, but it's more than that. You talked to a lot of young people today. They have affection for her. So there's something about beyond just the pomp and circumstance, but about her and what she represented that I think there's an enormous amount of affection for.
Laura, I think you're right. I think all generations could see how steady she was. I think we are looking for serious leaders who are steady and who are prepared to stand for the values and the institutions and to defend them vigorously, not just with a tweet or a snide remark someplace on social media, but by real service, real work, real dedication, real wisdom, real experience, real knowledge, things that this Queen certainly had and that we see lacking too often around the world, both on the world stage and here at home.
Can you imagine the Queen ever disparaging her own country? Whether there's the history of the country or former leaders of the country publicly, the way it's done so glibly and casually today in the United States by so many people of influence?
It's unimaginable. And 7 decades on, it never happened. She not only was unapologetic about her role and her place and her country's place in the world, but remember, we're now just a couple days out from 9/11. I remember the Queen at 9/11 as well. She understood what had been put upon the world. She understood the United Kingdom's responsibility to help America respond to what happened to our citizens that day. And she was steadfast in protecting freedom around the world wherever it was threatened.
She loved Reagan. She had a great relationship with President Reagan, John Paul II. Obviously, she and Trump got along really well. Woody and I were just talking about that. I want to play
absolutely.
some other reaction, though, to her death from some corners. Was a bit odd, Mr. Secretary. Here's former Obama official and journalist Rick Stengel.
British colonialism, which she presided over for all these years, had a terrible effect on much of the world. There's a weakness in the American character that still yearns for that era of hereditary privilege, which is the very thing that we escaped from.
What on earth is he talking about? I mean, they have contempt for anything attached to tradition. Period. End of story. Unbelievable.
You got it exactly right. This is an attack on the foundational ideas of our country. We have a very different system. We have no monarchy here. We split away from that a couple 100+ years ago. But those histories, those foundational ideas in our country, it's our Constitution and our founding. Those attacks would be exactly the same on our institutions, the thing that we hold dear. It was kind of a Marxist attack on that. That's a bizarre statement from the left, who just literally rejects history and tradition and values and virtues in the way we all know have delivered not only for our country, but the United Kingdom and the relationship between our two countries as well.
Yeah, Mr. Secretary, they're going to be really miserable over the next few weeks of all the ceremonies and so forth. They're just going to be absolutely miserable because anytime people are patriotic, they're really unhappy. So just great to see you tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. So what happens from here? Well, we know there's going to be a period of mourning for a number of days. We expect